A secret $10 million expedition beneath the Red Sea just uncovered what might be the lost army of Pharaoh. Divers returned with footage of coral-covered chariot wheels, horse bones, and human remains scattered across almost 1.5 miles of seafloor. The artifacts match Egyptian New Kingdom designs, and they're located on a hidden underwater land bridge that connects Egypt to Saudi Arabia at exactly 900 feet deep. When the team showed their evidence to Egyptologists and major history institutions, the response wasn't excitement or verification. It was complete silence. But can underwater debris really prove that a biblical army drowned 3,000 years ago? And what happens if accepting this discovery means destroying 100 years of academic careers built on denying it ever happened? Body. The secret $10 million expedition. In late 2024, a quiet mission began on the Red Sea. On the surface, it looked like a normal ocean research trip. But behind closed doors, it was something very different. The expedition was secretly funded with more than $10 million from private backers who wanted no attention. The team was made of marine experts, deep-sea divers, ocean engineers, and a few former military specialists. 2 wealthy partners from the Middle East supported the mission and demanded complete silence. Everyone involved signed strict agreements promising not to talk. The technology on board made it clear that this was no normal project. The crew carried military-grade sonar, powerful ROVs, 4K video cameras, and magnetometers that can locate metal objects hidden under thick sand. Some said this was the kind of equipment used in Navy operations, not archaeology. Their goal was bold and risky: to search for the lost army of Pharaoh, believed by some to have drowned in the Red Sea during the famous crossing story. The chosen location was the Gulf of Aqaba, a place long surrounded by whispers and rumors. For many years, divers said they saw strange shapes deep below the waves, but no one ever proved anything. The turning point came when the team used sonar to scan the sea floor. To their shock, the machine picked up perfectly shaped circles and other organized forms. These shapes lined up in a trail, stretching in a straight path. They did not look like random rocks or coral growth. They looked planned. The ROV was sent down next. Its camera slowly moved through the dark water, and then the shapes became clear: coral-covered wheels, broken wood and metal pieces, and scattered objects buried in sand. As the robot kept traveling forward, more wreckage appeared, spread across almost 1.5 miles. The sonar images were shocking enough. But nothing could prepare the team for what they would see with their own eyes when they went down there themselves. The dive. After the first camera footage, the team sent down a group of elite deep-sea divers with years of experience in dangerous waters. These divers were trained to work in strong currents and in complete darkness. When they reached the bottom, they realized they were standing in the middle of what looked like a massive disaster frozen in time. It felt like an underwater war zone, silent but full of broken pieces of history. The first objects they studied were the chariot wheels. Some wheels had 4 spokes, others had 6, and a few even had 8, just like the designs known from the Egyptian New Kingdom period. What shocked the divers most was that all types were found together, scattered across the ocean floor, as if hundreds of chariots had been destroyed at the same time. More artifacts were found nearby: metal fragments, bent axles, and pieces of chariot cabs. Some objects were made of corroded bronze, while others looked like petrified wood, hardened after thousands of years under water and coral. Then came the discovery that stopped everyone cold. The divers found bones everywhere. There were horse skulls, ribs, and long femur bones mixed with human spine pieces, pelvic bones, and broken skull fragments. The bones were tangled together in a confusing mess, suggesting a sudden violent event, not a slow shipwreck. But the most shocking find of all was a golden chariot wheel. The diver who spotted it said it was gold-plated, shining beneath a layer of coral. It looked like it may have belonged to a high-ranking commander or even a pharaoh himself. The wheel was stuck firmly in place, locked by thick coral that had grown around it for thousands of years. The team worked to capture everything. They recorded thousands of high-resolution photos and hours of HD video, making sure nothing would be lost. The team rushed back to shore with their evidence, excited to share it with the world. But the response they got was the last thing they expected. The academic reaction. When the research team returned to land, They were sure the world of history would explode with excitement. They carefully organized their photos, videos, and notes, and then shared the evidence with a few trusted Egyptologists and large history institutions. They expected cheering and shock. They expected a rush to verify the discovery. Instead, something very different happened. There was silence. Emails were answered with short, dry messages. Meetings were delayed again and again. A few experts looked at the photos once and then refused to speak about them. Some gave excuses, saying they were too busy or not qualified, even though these same scholars had spent their entire lives studying Egyptian history. The team felt like doors were closing one by one. It was not excitement. It was fear. Why would scientists stay quiet about such a huge discovery? The team slowly realized the truth. If the find was real, it would challenge over 100 years of mainstream Egyptology. Textbooks, museum displays, and long-trusted timelines would need to be rewritten. Many famous experts would be proven wrong. Their careers, awards, and reputations were built on the idea that the Red Sea crossing was only a story, not real history. Accepting this discovery would mean accepting that a massive event described in ancient texts truly happened. That idea alone made many academics uncomfortable. The moment they confirmed the underwater remains, they would be opening a door that could not be closed. So instead of helping, they ignored it. The researchers who led the dive said the reaction felt colder than the deep sea itself. No debate. No curiosity. Just silence, as if the find was too dangerous for the world to hear. The silence made no sense until they looked closer at the place itself. The location held a secret that explained everything. The geography. The place where the discovery was made is important because the location itself holds clues. The team was working in the Gulf of Aqaba, a long, narrow stretch of water between Egypt and Saudi Arabia. This gulf is normally very deep. In most areas, the water plunges to between 5,000 and 6,000 feet, falling into a huge underwater canyon. For this reason, many experts always believed that no large group of people or animals could have crossed it on foot. But this location has one strange feature that changes everything. Hidden far below the surface is a natural land bridge. It is a flat plateau that stretches all the way across the Gulf. From Nuweiba Beach in Egypt to the coast of Saudi Arabia, the distance is about 10 miles. Unlike the rest of the Gulf, this underwater bridge is only about 900 feet deep, making it much shallower than the surrounding areas. It is also several miles wide, forming a smooth path beneath the water. This unusual geography matches the description of the crossing story perfectly. Nuweiba Beach is surrounded by steep mountains, leaving no way to escape except straight across the water. It forms a natural trap, exactly like ancient texts describe. And because people thousands of years ago did not have deep-sea maps, they could not have known that this hidden bridge existed. The survival of artifacts in this area also makes sense. The 900-foot depth kept them safe from storms, waves, and treasure hunters. Special currents in the Gulf caused sand to settle and protect the remains. The warm water supported fast coral growth, and the coral acted like a natural shield, locking objects in place and preserving them. There is also a bottleneck effect, meaning everything in that narrow path was pushed together. If an army was trapped there, it explains why so many objects were found in one concentrated area, with no path to escape. This underwater land bridge was ideal for crossing, but decades earlier, someone claimed the same evidence, and the world laughed. Ron Wyatt. Before the modern expedition, one man had already claimed this discovery. His name was Ron Wyatt, a nurse and anesthetist from Tennessee. Ron was not a trained archaeologist or historian. He was a self-taught explorer who loved biblical history and believed that ancient stories might be real events waiting to be proven. In the 1970s, Ron became deeply interested in the story of the Red Sea crossing. He rejected the popular idea that the event happened in a shallow swamp called the Red Sea. Instead, he followed clues from the Bible and simple geography. He asked basic questions. Where could a huge crowd escape? Where could an army chase them? And what place matches the description of mountains trapping people with the sea in front of them? His search led him to the Gulf of Aqaba, and then to Nuweiba Beach. In 1978, Ron Wyatt went diving with very basic equipment, nothing like the advanced machines we have now. He later said he saw coral-covered chariot wheels, human bones, and horse bones. He even claimed he saw a golden chariot wheel, which he believed belonged to a royal leader. But the photos he took were blurry and low quality, and almost everyone rejected them. The academic world attacked him hard. He was called a fraud, a liar, and a pseudoscience peddler. Because he also claimed discoveries about Noah's Ark and the Ark of the Covenant, scholars dismissed everything he said. For more than 40 years, his work was mocked. When he died in 1999, his Red Sea claims were still treated like a joke. But Ron left behind hand-drawn maps, marked coordinates, and personal notes. The 2024 expedition followed those maps. Using high-tech sonar, ROVs, and HD cameras, they found the same wheels, bones, and debris he described. Suddenly, the amateur many laughed at his being taken seriously, and experts are now forced to rethink the story they spent decades denying. So if all this evidence is real, what could actually cause an entire army to vanish beneath the waves in seconds? The theories are wild. Wild theories. The discovery of chariots, bones, and weapons on the seafloor suggests a sudden and violent event. Historians and researchers have tried to explain how such a huge military force could end up buried beneath the Red Sea. Several major theories now compete to explain the disaster. This theory links the event to the eruption of the Pharaoh volcano on the island of Santorini around 3,500 years ago. The explosion was one of the largest volcanic events in known history. A blast of that size could create a massive tsunami. Before a tsunami wave hits, the ocean first pulls far back from the shore, a process known as the drawback. During a drawback, the seabed becomes exposed for miles, appearing to open like a path. Supporters of this theory describe the scene: the water pulls away, exposing the underwater land bridge, allowing a mass crossing. The Egyptian army races onto the exposed ground, then the returning tsunami wave crashes down and completely destroys the force in seconds. Like and subscribe channel.